Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, really. We're really pushing it this morning.
It depends where you are in the world.
This is Sizzling, powered by Fit to Be Trained. Or I should say, this is the Sizzling Show, but sometimes I identify as her. Coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel. Deep End Broadcasting I guess it's not .com, but you get the gist of it.
Yeah, deependbroadcasting.com or on the YouTube channel Deep End Broadcasting.
Oh, okay. So no 757.
Actually, Karen, sorry to play producer during your show. Move a little bit this way for the camera.
The mic.
Your whole body and mic. Scoot. There you go. Is
that better?
Yeah. Now pull your mic over.
Me? Alrighty.
Now we can.
Cool. Hey, y'all. It's me, Karen Dougherty, and I am Sizzle. It's my nickname. Love that nickname. But you can find me. I'm going to let the cheer go on. Yeah. But you can find me everywhere, all over the internet. Fit2betrained.com, fit2betrainedonline.com. All my social media is Fit to Be Trained. So local website is fit2betrained.com. If you're interested in online work or virtual training, do Fit to Be Trained online.
And you can look at your screen right now. And I have your contact info scrolling at the bottom.
Thank you very much. So, I'm excited for today. Guess why?
Why is that?
Because I get to interview you.
Oh, how fun. Woo.
I know, I'm really excited. I'll tell you why I'm so excited. Because I think rugby is a super cool sport. And I prepared you
for very fit sport.
I prepared you for this last week, and we got to talk about my girl crush, Iona Meyer. I love her. And there's a million people that love her, and there's an Instagram following that can prove it. But she's a badass. She's awesome. And she's a girly girl, and she's just a cool chick and a really amazing athlete. So I won't stick on her. Everybody can look her up on Instagram. She is a female rugby player. And I feel like I've known about rugby because when we met at Valiant CrossFit, there were some rugby players that were working out there. And that's probably all guys you knew. And all their legs were like tree trunks. Like running with them was like, wow, they could run so fast. Their legs were so strong. And I could never keep up, obviously. And they were big guys, really fit, like you started to say. Very, very fit. So that's how I didn't even know about rugby until then. That was 10 years ago. I mean, it sounds stupid. Like, how could I not know about it? But I didn't.
Very under the radar sport, still in the world. I mean, not the world, but the United States.
Well, that explains it, because I'm not lying. I know a lot about athletics, and I didn't know much about it. So that's when I got intrigued, was about 10 years ago. And then with the Olympics, fast forward, and then obviously our friendship, but I still didn't know a lot about it. And I never got to ask you a lot of questions. I would ask you questions about coaching, like questions about like when I was doing that bodybuilding competition, like talk to you as a coach, like can I handle this with my schedule, stuff like that. And you said, yeah, get busy, get to work. And I did. But what makes rugby unique compared to other team sports? Why do you think it's just under the radar? Or that's two questions. Let me go back to the unique. I want to know
well, I think both have to do with each other a little bit, to be honest. When you talk about under the radar and being somewhat unique. Now, it is a sport that was born in, of all places, a place called Rugby England.
Oh.
And it happened during a soccer game, or football, if you're an Englishman out there,
Right.
or European football. So they were playing a game, and somebody picked up the ball and started running with it, and the other team tackled him with the ball, and thus that started the sport of rugby.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that was
when
it.
was this?
Let's see. Rugby began. Let's see.
You're looking it up.
Yeah, I used to know this.
I'm
1823.
Wow. Okay. Because
Yeah.
remember, we were talking about Pilates last week, and that's 100 years old. So
yeah, rugby is 102 years old now. That's right. 'Cause we just had the 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
Of the World Cup or whatever.
Rugby, same thing. Cool. There was a lot of cool stuff getting done back then.
What makes it unique is that, well, you have one referee, and now you have the sideline officials as well, and of course replay in the upper levels, as well as any other sport. But there are 15 players on each side, and that's a lot for one referee to handle. Half the team is delegated as forwards. The other half are backs, and it's the idea that the forwards win you possession of the ball, and then the backs are all the speedsters that try to score with it. That being said, anyone on the field can score at any given time.
Oh, cool.
You must pass the ball backwards. You can kick it forward, but you can't kick it forward to a teammate ahead of you. You can kick it forward, but the next person who has to get it is either you or someone behind you when you kicked it. So kind of like a chase type of game.
I got you.
And then basically you try to score a touchdown. And the word touchdown in football, you ask yourself, well, what does touchdown mean? That comes from rugby as well, to where when you cross the goal line, you actually touch the ball to the ground, and that's what gives you your 5-point score. You have a 2-point conversion kick after that. That's the other team can run after it, but they have to start at the goal line, so there's plenty of room. So you can score 5 on the what's called a try, or like a professional football touchdown type of play. You can get 2 on the bonus kick, and then you can actually, if there's a penalty on the field, or even if you're running around and you got a good drop kick to you, that takes a special skill to drop kick the ball. You can score 3 points through the goalpost. But the most common way to do that is through a penalty. Now, unique as well, in the sense that it's a pretty good brotherhood. No one has ever really gotten paid to play rugby. In fact, you have to pay to play rugby, generally growing up. And it is kind of maybe a dying breed. We look like we had really good growth in the United States. We compete better on a national level. We definitely have great rugby athletes playing in the leagues nowadays. But
are they crossover? Do they start as rugby, or do they
no, they always start as something else.
That's what I was wondering.
But you can play in there's lots of high school rugby, there's lots of college rugby, there's lots of youth rugby as well now. So they're definitely getting it at a younger age, and they do a good job at the youth level. But where it's kind of falling apart, and this is where the youth level becomes important, is at the basic men's club level.
Okay.
Like your Division III Virginia Beach team, which I've been a part of for a while. It takes a lot to get a team to stay together. You get a lot of turnover. Again, you're not getting paid. You're just dedicating your time. You're getting beat up. You break bones. You have to miss.
Tough sport.
Yeah, you have to miss work because you're injured.
Oh my.
All right. So at some point, you got to draw the line of what you're able to do, what you can't. Some people can play forever and not get hurt. Other people seem to get hurt all the time.
Yeah, I think that's common in any.
So it's unique trying to just hold it together. That there are definitely a lot less men's teams now than there were pre-COVID and about 15 or 20 years ago. Could that be some of these kids growing up?
Yeah.
And maybe not being, I'm sorry, as tough as the old school guys, there might be something to that.
Well, I think so too. And before we go any further, I am embarrassed. I never introduced you. We just got right into it.
Oh, I think they know me by now. Maybe not the new audience.
Yeah,
but
just this is my buddy Steve, and he is the producer. He was playing around like I don't mean to play producer, but me and him are very good friends and go way, way back. And Steve, you can introduce yourself too if I left anything out.
The Deep End Broadcasting Network is owned by my company, Deep Endable Solutions. Deep End comes from a swimming pool, as I've ran a swimming pool company most of my life, or have not been employed in the swimming pool industry. Yes, so Deep Endable, but Deep End Able, like deep end of a pool.
Dependable
Solutions.
Yeah.
So here we are with Deep End Broadcasting, and you can find my content along this platform as well, deependbroadcasting.com. I host basically the majority of the other shows on the network. Here I play producer and be Karen's sidekick.
I know, I love it.
Which is fun for me. You don't have to hear my voice.
I love it.
But we like to have a lot of fun in the world of sports wagering as well. So you can find programs focused on that. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. You might think that I'm crazy when I'd say that I'm somewhat of a professional gambler as well. That kind of sounds lunatic. But I have a combined 63 years experience as in sportsbook management.
Mm-hmm.
And as a player as well.
I kind of, that's becoming very popular. So I don't find that odd at all.
Oh, no, not nowadays. But I mean, you're not going to find someone with 63 years experience.
Right.
Like me in the field of sports management and sports wagering. Thus, I can have shows that talk about it with credibility.
It's probably interesting.
Okay.
What is the most challenging position to play in rugby and why?
Well, they're all challenging because they all have different specific roles. And there's 15 different positions. Now, it's hard to say that the front three don't have the toughest job, where they are actually engaged with the other team's front three as well. And what's called the scrums. You hear the word scrums all the time. It's improperly used in the NFL when they talk about a rugby scrum happening on the football field. That's never actually the case.
Right.
That is a set play that starts from the get-go where the ball is rolled in and the teams engage and then try to, if you're looking at the screen, I'm trying to do the visual model, push each other back and forth to try to win possession. You can't touch the ball when you're engaged with the 8-on-8 forwards from the get-go. The ball has to roll out the back, so you have to push over the other team.
Is the ball round?
Yes, the ball is just like a giant kind of watermelon type of ball.
So
maybe
it's big.
Yeah, it's easy to kick, easy to catch. It's a lot of fun to play around with. If you want to, for those of you out there who have kids, buy them a rugby ball for Easter. If you're looking for an Easter present, it's something different.
Yeah.
They like rugby from watching the Olympics, and they'll have a lot of fun with it too. Even if they don't know what it is, tell them to Google it.
That's really cool.
And then
That's
they'll play
great,
around with it.
Great idea.
But a rugby ball is a ton of fun to play with, kick with, throw, just throw around. It's great exercise for the kids as well. Every position is so important, but just from the physical contact aspect alone, the three players in the front, which are two props and a hooker is what it's called, because he hooks the ball back when the ball gets rolled in. Those three guys probably have the most physically demanding job on the field. They're always in contact with the other team.
I was going to say, because they're more defensive.
Yeah, and there's a lot more tackling with those type of players.
Right.
That's where I played. So I'm going to favor that. And, I think I know. Oh, that's a good, interesting question. All right.
Yes,
so when I was at Radford University, my roommate was a guy named Michael Blevins. We had another friend from our high school named Stu. and Stu lived in the dorm completely across the campus from us. And he had this roommate named Matt, and Stu and Matt came over either the first or second day of school. We're drinking in the dorm rooms, whatever. And the guy, Matt, says, "Hey, you're a big kid. Why don't you come on out and try this rugby thing?" And there was a meeting in which they had a keg at the meeting for a new player interest meeting. And then they were showing a video of rugby. And I saw the sports once. I saw a game in high school when I was up at the University of Virginia with my parents visiting, I think probably my older brother at the time. They stopped and made me watch a rugby game. And I thought it was kind of interesting. And yeah, it was a physical sport.
Yeah.
And the guy seemed cool, and I didn't really have many friends. So I decided my freshman first semester to go out and play that. And then I played my first game, and then we had our first rugby party, and it was instantly hooked from there.
I believe it. I know. But can I just backtrack? Because you were like, I didn't have a lot of friends. It was a way to make friends new in college. There again, athletics, gyms. That's a great place to make friends, people, especially CrossFit gyms. Some gyms you're kind of more on your own, but CrossFit gyms are like athletic teamy kind of feeling. So you're going to make friends.
Well, so think of this domino effect. So what if I never met that guy, Matt? Would have I have ever played rugby? Probably not. And since then, and I've played for a bunch of men's teams, and I've coached for Old Dominion University. I've coached for the Virginia Beach Falcons as well. And you know what? We've had some tournaments that I created, big time tournaments that, people, I don't know why they let it fall apart, but they have. But there's a lot of marriages and just other friendships out there that have been spawned from something I've been a part of for a long time. The Virginia Beach rugby team was not in existence when I came back to Virginia Beach to live here. And I had played with them in the early 90s when I took time off from school. And there was no rugby team when I showed back up here in 2001. I kind of asked what happened. They said it fell apart. And I got a couple of people to help me out who were interested in restarting the team, and we went through the processes, and we actually reestablished Virginia Beach rugby, who here we are 23 years later.
That makes my heart beat. That's so great.
Well, they're playing in a playoff game this weekend.
I love that. I love that because that is who you are. For those of you that don't know him personally, just from the podcast, you are a coach. You are somebody that you take leadership. You are a gatherer of people, whether you're bartending or coaching, right? I mean, I worked in bars too for a long time. I don't know, something about any kind of social atmosphere was you're a leader or a follower, and you have always been one that could get people together, hey, even if it was as simple as just having a party, but I think you can put together an athletic team almost just as easy, right? What role or does strategy play in? We kind of just talked about that because you talked about the scrums and the lineouts.
Right.
Is it a difficult sport to just learn? Because I think that's what this question is. How do you approach teaching the technical aspects of rugby to a new person?
You definitely have to have your patience learning. And I didn't really play my first A-side starter game for a whole year after I started. I played on that, what is called the B-side, which is essentially like a junior varsity team. You have to now some people are good enough. They kind of catch it right off the bat. But even then, you see guys who've been playing, fantastic athletes, make stupid, basic rookie mistakes because they simply don't know the rules.
And I was going to say, rookie, do you also think that, because like you said, I wondered if rugby was a crossover sport. They've been in soccer, probably a lot of football, I'm thinking. And
wrestling too is a good prerequisite.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all those big boys. So is it a sport for the larger stature, or is there room for the smaller guy because he runs really fast?
No, there are plenty of small guys who run very fast.
Because I thought there was
are strong.
Women.
And strong.
There was big women on the Olympic team, and there were smaller ones too.
No, it's all sizes, all shapes, and all sizes. There's a position for you in rugby.
Cool. Well, there's 15 people on a team. That's large.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they? And this is my own question. Do they have a bench? Do they do the same thing as other sports where if you foul or you can get pulled out of a game, you get benched?
You have up to 8 substitutions per game.
Okay.
If one's for a blood, you can actually take the player off and bring the blood guy back on. But if you're switching a player out, that player who comes out cannot go back in if it's just for a simple substitution.
How many people are on the field at one time and not on one team?
Yeah, 15 on one team. And so it's 15 on 15, 30 people on the field running around at once.
Okay, so are there alternates or something? Is that what you're saying? Where you can trade someone out?
Well, the only time you can change people out is during a stop play. So if a ball goes out of bounds or there's a minor infraction or a penalty, you have to actually ask the referee permission to put a sub in, and the referee gives the go-ahead.
How many subs do you guys have?
You have 8 per team for a 80-minute game.
Interesting. All right. Let me see.
So you have to. You don't sub everyone in the first half, or you're done.
Right.
If you have someone injured, you have to play down a person.
So it's 4 quarters.
2 halves, 2 40-minute halves.
Okay, gotcha. Just trying to think of random questions. Because my list, I'm out of. Here's one more on my list. Rugby has a strong culture of respect. I know it has mine. How do you instill that in your team?
Well, that's a long, hard question. But so I don't know if you can completely do that to everybody. So here's the deal. And there's so many people involved. And again, you're talking about, it depends what level you're going to be on as well. Obviously, if you're more of a national coach, you're going to get the ultimate respect or you're gone or whatever.
Right.
A little bit different in Division III where people, again, are paying their own money to play. If they think something's nonsense, they think something's nonsense.
Right.
But there is always going to be, at least on my end as a coach, a method to my madness. And what I'm going to do as for a coach is I'm going to put yourself in the best position that I can for you to succeed and for you to win.
Right.
Now,
is there an age? Is there a popular, that kind of sounds silly.
No, well,
college is a certain age.
I mean, there are kids who come out and play for the men's teams who are 16 years old to learn a sport in high school.
Okay.
For sure.
That's great.
If they can't find it against other high schoolers, they'll come out and play for the men's. And then they can take that to college and be a better college player.
Which is
when
nice
they get there.
Too, like say a father and son gig too. Like if a dad was into it, he could bring his 16-year-old boy and
one of the guys' goals on Virginia Beach is to play a game with his son, and his son's like 2 years old. So
right. So that, I mean,
he has like 15 years.
I get it. I mean, that's why I was asking. Because there might be people in Virginia Beach local that are going, oh, I'd like to do that with my son somewhere, right? And anywhere around the country. Is it a popular sport in most states, or is it like popular here in Virginia and maybe not, or is it nationwide?
Popularity varies. Northern Virginia has 1 million rugby teams.
Really?
We have 3 men's teams locally: Newport News, Norfolk, Virginia Beach. We've tried the high school thing, but that's kind of fallen apart. Again, do you have the kids who want to compete in that sort of thing?
I mean, do you
nowadays.
think it's popular in New Jersey or Minnesota or like different parts of the country, or you just don't know?
It's military. Anywhere where there's going to be a military base, you're going to find interest in rugby
Oh,
because they played around the world.
interesting.
There's teams everywhere, Karen.
Okay.
You're the Northeast.
I picture
I think it's a
Chicago
stronghold.
for some reason.
California is a big rugby area.
Okay.
Even Utah, you get a lot of
Got ya.
Samoans, Fijians. That's their sport.
Oh, wow.
They like that better than soccer.
That's cool.
The Islanders are always great
Why
rugby
do I
players.
think that's so cool? I don't know why, but I do.
I would say there are strongholds.
Yeah, of
for
course,
sure.
with anything, you know.
But it's all over. You should be able to find a rugby team
just
within a
because
couple
we
hours.
did get into that. Me being a parent, I think of the father-son thing, and you're always trying to get your kids in sports. And I just thought, is it something that's popular here in Virginia, or is it all over?
They do have a 757 rugby academy. It's called. If you're here local to Virginia Beach, look it up on social media, just like you would Karen for her stuff.
Now tell me
if you
about
just
girls.
hit that, you'll find it.
Are there women's clubs? I mean, I don't expect you to know a whole bunch about it, but I mean, is it something that
Northern Virginia has plenty of women's high school teams, and also
cool?
Our colleges locally are some of the better ones. Now, I coached the Old Dominion women. I don't think that program exists anymore, to be honest. That's one of the things if you don't keep it going. And they face their challenges with field availability, the fact that they are a small school.
Well, I know Virginia Tech has a team.
Hamstringed by the administration. Yes, Virginia Tech's good. Mary Washington's very good. William and Mary is very good.
For females.
And yeah, those teams have won national championships.
Because I worked as a fitness trainer at Westminster Canterbury for a couple years, and one of the other trainers there comes in, and you know me, I get starstruck, you know. She comes in, big girl, dun, 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 and my boss is like, this is so-and-so, and she's a rugby player at Virginia Tech. And I was like, excuse me? Wait, what? We must be friends, like, immediately. And she was like super, super cool, not just because she played rugby. She was very cool. But I like people that are in athletics because they tend to have discipline. You know, she was everything I thought she'd be. She was a great trainer. She was a great coworker. She was great at lunch. She would eat with me, you know, because I was a big eater. People used to joke around. Yeah, I just enjoyed her as a person, but I still, you know, I'd ask her stuff about rugby. I just didn't know much about it, but she was Virginia Tech. That's why I bring it up. What is now we're getting into coaching stuff, and I want to pick your brain because I'm not a coach of teams, but I'm somewhat of a coach. A personal trainer is somewhat of a coach. What's the key to building trust and camaraderie among players?
I think it's trying to make it fun, a learning experience, and where you take it serious. You try not to go overwhelming with that series kind of nature, almost in a way. Now, today's environment is kind of one where everyone wants to get coddled a little bit. They want to get their ego stroked. Okay. So you need to.
The young people?
I think so, but even people like me like to hear, "Oh, you're doing such a good job."
I mean, I was just you like hear, because I know I do. Yeah, like that's part of the reason why I like CrossFit. They call us athletes.
That goes to our generation as well. Yeah, exactly. So. They call us athletes.
They call us athletes. I'm like, finally,
right.
I'm joining. I want to be. I want to because I am one.
I am the least athletic CrossFitter in the universe at this moment of time.
But whatever, once an athlete, always an athlete. Because like I said, when I would work with older folks, and I've always done that my entire career. I don't have a whole bunch of them on my roster right now, but I used to, you can always tell people that were in sports, and obviously I'm almost 60 years old, so it was mostly men, but you could always, that were in sports when they were younger, and you know, they're 80 years old, and you can always see that athlete still in them. I swear. And you can always bring it out in their mindset, and then they'll try harder. They just will. They'll do better in the gym every time. I would be like, remember who you are, and it feels good to go, yeah, that's right. What? Yeah.
I think that helped me in the gym competing against myself, and I try to use that when I get into the zone.
I mean, once an athlete, always an athlete. That head, you get into their head. You just get into someone's head, and then you can make them perform. It's kind of it's not easy, but I mean, that's what we do for a living. How do you balance individual player development with, I don't even know. Sorry.
Well, that's a good question.
With team success. Okay.
The assistant coaches, because you need to be able to move on. If you're trying to, obviously you get the new players up to speed, but you can spend forever in a day getting new players up to speed or trying to, and not going over the game itself, which the experienced players will lack that game plan knowledge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
You need to be more dedicated to the experienced players while having these new guys learn as you go the best that you can. And that is specifically with assistant coaches. That way they can pull them aside and say, hey, look, here's what they're doing. Okay, let's practice a few reps ourselves. All right, now get in with them, and now tries to get them up to speed without trying to slow down the momentum of the team. That is a complete balancing act when I was head coaching Virginia Beach last fall was I had plenty of assistant coaches. So they made my life so much easier by being able to run drills with new players.
Yes.
Even give me a break from doing stuff.
So you said 4 of them. You had 4 of them.
There was 4 of us total. So we had 3 of them. Yeah.
Wow.
3 assistants.
Well, it's 15 guys. You need it. This is a fantastic question. What's the most rewarding part of coaching a team sport?
I think
it's probably a lot.
Well,
the most
as administratively and growing the team is everything that I mentioned with, like, there wouldn't be a bunch of marriages like if I didn't meet that guy Matt,
right
in the dorm. How many people wouldn't know each other? Would there even be a Virginia Beach rugby right now?
Right.
Probably not, because it wasn't coming back in 2002.
So
I'll tell you that right now.
Legacy. That's the most rewarding. Creating legacy.
As far as the actual coaching goes, I mean, obviously it's to try to
win.
Experience moments of winning that you've never done before. And that's like a deep playoff run. Having a tournament championship. We won tournaments before. That's the best that I can say that we've done. Never had a deep playoff run. That's kind of missing out on my resume at the end of the day, as a player and a coach. Close on several occasions.
What do you mean by deep playoff run? Like what Alana? I don't even know if I'm saying her name right, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when she did that huge run.
Yeah, so they won a gold medal, but I like for our Virginia Beach men's team, I mean, if they win enough games, they'll be the best team around here. Then they'll beat another good team from around here. Then the next step is to play maybe someone from Maryland or Pennsylvania. You beat them. So that's
what you mean about run.
Then after that, maybe you're playing someone from Atlanta and you beat them. Next thing you know, you're playing someone from Denver, Colorado, and you beat them. And eventually there's no more games left to play, and they tell you that you're the best.
Wow. It's a good feeling, I bet.
Yeah.
I've always been I was going to say I've always been mediocre, and that's kind of not true. Being humble. I was good.
And here's what I told the players: like, embrace these moments, because if you allow it, it will turn into so many more powerful things for you down the road, as far as how your life is lived, the memories that you cherish, the people that you still keep in touch with. If you allow it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's part of the journey. We talk about fitness journey all the time. I mean, that's what rugby is. You're taking a journey. Every season, the team's going to be different.
Right.
But you're step one onto the field the first day of practice, until the very last game when it's over with. That's kind of like
Together.
his little mini journey altogether too. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What's your approach to motivating players during tough times or after a loss or losses,
So I always challenged a player to, no matter what, be the best person with the player across from you. Don't worry about the rest of the team. If it's whoever my opponent is face to face with me, make sure that I'm the one who's better than him. And if all our players can do that collectively, then we're going to be the better team at the end of the day. That takes the pressure off of me to try to make everyone else better. Mm-hmm. Or yes, obviously you want to, and you always are a good teammate for sure. But if you just think about beating the guy across from you and that's your focus, and you can do so, the most of it will fall into place.
Well, I agree with that because that's focus.
Now,
and then it takes
if you're getting beat, Karen, if you're getting your butt beat, go out there and crack someone hard on the hardest tackle that you can. And that gets everyone's attention again.
What about since we're talking about that, what about fouls? Okay, it's a tough sport. Football's a tough sport. You're allowed to tackle. You're allowed to throw them down. But then there is a line that they cross. And it was so funny with the Super Bowl last year or this year. I didn't mean to say last year with Patrick Mahoney, if he would get touched.
Right.
Everybody was like, that was hilarious to me.
As in that all sports, the rules have changed over the years. And they're trying to make everything for a safer sport. And
that's fair.
Unfortunately, that's rugby included because they've kind of gone overboard on a couple of occasions, I think.
Do you guys deal with head injuries like these?
Oh, yeah, sure. But, anything above a chest tackle is a penalty. You can get red carded as well, kicked out of a game. So if it's something that's bad enough, then, you're out, you're kicked out and your team's playing a man down. Injuries are always a factor. You have to attempt to wrap. You can't launch at a player like a Superman tackle.
Right.
You have to at least try to wrap him up to tackle him and take him to the ground. You can't whip him through the air. You can't give him the Russian sickle, take his neck off. You can't do any of that. You have to do a clean, what's quote unquote called a form tackle. In fact,
is that similar in football too?
No, but I would say this. A lot of football coaches have adapted rugby tackling techniques because it ensures it gets the player to the ground.
And then you had mentioned wrestling, so that's why the guys are good at that because there's so much of that going on in a sense, like learning the skill of taking somebody down.
Yes.
That's cool.
Rugby's a leverage sport, and leverage is everything in rugby for sure too as well.
Oh, darn it. It was such a good question. We got to keep talking because I can't lose that question. But I also want to talk about a while ago, we talked about favorite exercises. And I had said the push-up and you had said how, the push-up that you have to be able in rugby, or that strong, those powerful legs, those powerful arms you're getting down on the ground, but you're also getting back up.
Yeah.
What one lesson you've learned as a coach that applies to life? One lesson that applies to life outside of sports? I'd come up with 20 a day, but what's one lesson that you've learned as a coach that applies to life outside of sports?
I mean, I think it's just all about the accountability at the end of the day. And
that's what I was going to say. Discipline for me.
Yeah. I mean, how accountable are you? I mean, and for me, a lot of times, I don't know if I'm accountable at all.
You probably are though, inside your realm. And then maybe in your personal, that's different. It still forces you to show up because you're an assistant coach. You've got to show up. I mean, so that's what I do like about sports is it forces me in my personal life.
Right.
to try, like, I'm definitely going to have discipline at work. I mean, I have to, it's my job and I got to show up, just like you got to show up to be the coach.
That's why I like the CrossFit classes. They would put your name on the dry erase board, and you got something out of that at the end of the day. You're like, all right, my name's up there. I know I went.
I did it.
Let me see if I can get my name up there 4 times, 5 times this week. And if you do that, then everyone else is noticing, hey, that guy's there all the time. He's doing pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Again, maybe a stroke of ego thing. But I think that's good accountability. Minor, I don't even know if it's a reward, but minor acknowledgement for what you've done.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Absolutely. And I am a person that has a big ego. I kind of have, I'm 58 now, so that's mellowed. But when I was young, oh my God. I mean, anybody who's in any kind of athletics, I own a Harley Davidson. Anybody who owns a Harley Davidson, I always would joke around. I mean, you've got a big ego. I mean, yeah, I mean, just certain things. And ego is something that's looked at as negative. I do realize that. I'm not bragging that I have a big ego. I in fact, nowadays that I'm older, I really don't have it that much. I miss it. Ego is good in a sense because it does make you perform. It does make you drive. I had a coach say that to me once because we were talking about ego, and he straight out said to me, dig up your ego. We need it right now.
Right.
Because you need to perform better. Where is your ego? Because you're not performing very well, Karen. So, I mean, yes, it can be a positive. So the lessons that you've learned as a coach that applies to life outside of sports, I mean, I think everything for me, I relate to sports for some reason because I enjoy it, but I just really appreciate the discipline. I also appreciate for team sports because you have to watch out for somebody else, and somebody else is watching out for you, hopefully, and you're watching out for them. That's why I liked team sports because it made me feel safe, fit in. Like I'm not going into my childhood stuff, but when I was a young girl, wanted to feel safe and fit in. So where do I go? Went to team sports. I loved it. And I ended up being good at it. So I had instant friendships and good friendships often, right? Because you talked about the journey. It's a journey. So you're going through that together as a season. It builds camaraderie. That was something that I've been attracted to my whole life. So I had a question that it just flew from my mind, and I'm so mad, and I'm sure that I'll remember it for next week.
Well, let me just add, confidence is a good thing too. That rugby will give you. Well, one, you better be confident on the rugby field, otherwise you're gonna
at least
die a quick death of
I know. I can't believe we didn't laugh more. We're pretty passionate about these subjects, but yeah, that's true. I would assume.
You have to have at least a little bit of toughness too.
Yeah, going out there.
You got to have at least a little bit of toughness.
Somebody's going to spot that lack of confidence and take it down. Yeah. I would
Well,
assume.
that's in real life too. Honestly,
I mean,
that's how the world works.
Yeah, if you
think what do women hate? A guy who's not confident, right?
Yeah. Because of the safety security thing. Yep. I think basically we are always looking for that safety and security. I know I have. That's been something that, oh my God, I've been looking for my whole life. So, and not just in men, like I just explained, I would go into team sports because of it, or CrossFit to me is the closest thing to team sports. You go there, you practice together. I don't really get involved in the competitions, but some people do. And it is camaraderie. You're working yourself pretty hard or not, and you're with those people for more, for a season at least, So I won't go on and on anymore. Is there anything that you would like to add to our little talk about rugby, coaching, team sports, anything?
Not really. Well, the main thing is know that everything's ever growing in every way in life. So be ready to adapt to the changes out there. I know. Well, did you see the video of the basketball coach guy pulling the girl's hair?
No.
That's probably something he could get away with 30 years ago or something like that. You can't now.
No.
And
You're right.
there's always
Yeah.
a world changing. So be cool, do your thing. Know that you probably will get people who think their way's better. But take it with a grain of salt. Try to stick to your ways too much. And honestly, if you find too much opposition for what you're trying to do, then ask yourself, well, why am I even here in the first place? And remove yourself from that. What I think is, a negative environment for yourself.
Yeah. And a lot of times team sports is a positive environment. And that's why I wanted to
a lot
talk
of it's a
about
positive,
this.
but there are people out there who will try to utilize you as a puppet. And
I guess
push
right,
their own and push their agenda.
Right.
And
especially a really good player.
Try to
more than
kind of
anything.
do it. You're like, well, you know what? I don't know if I necessarily think that's right myself,
Right.
And sometimes you're almost willing to accept that sort of thing because it's the battle less fought. That's the easier path sometimes to causing bigger chaos, right?
So wait. Let's back this truck up for a second.
Yeah.
So so what you're saying is sometimes coaches, are you saying, and I could be taking this wrong, sometimes coaches can be overbearing on their athletes. That's what you're saying? I have a feeling.
Well, okay. So here's a good example for rugby in today's day and age, as opposed to back from 20 years ago. All right. And when I practiced from my rugby teams, you tackled in practice, and you tackled a lot in practice.
Right. That makes sense.
Nowadays, it's tackling pads. You rarely tackle other people, but how are you going to become a great tackler if you're not going to have one-on-one physical contact with another person?
Right.
And I've definitely been in the scenario in which I'm like, all right, it's full live play. Everyone's tackling. And then everyone looks at me like I'm a complete alien. Like, what are you talking about? We can't tackle.
Oh, they don't tackle in practice anymore.
Like, dude, this is rugby. We have to tackle.
Exactly.
No, there's tackling, but there's such a thing as full-on live 100% rugby and getting tackled and tackling a pad. Those are two different things.
Interesting. I'm glad we touched on this.
The choice in practice, 99 out of 100 times, is to tackle the pad.
Right.
So that's the thing. If you're going to be coaching at sports,
I wonder if that's happening in football too. Because if you see them practicing,
sure.
They're always up against that pad.
No, well, NFL, you're limited to your amount of padded practices. The Detroit Lions coach, there's a famous clip of him talking about how they need to tackle each other and how he knows the players don't want to do it, but in order to get where they want to be, they have to do it and to trust them. And
interesting. I'm glad we.
No, that trickles down to all levels. And if you're from the old school, it's kind of hard to accept that new school type of thinking nowadays. So.
Right. So you're saying that new school, they're putting more and more rules down with that. So when they're going out in the games, I
don't even know if it's necessarily rules.
Men.
It's not necessarily rules as it is just your second nature mentality of today's day and age.
Interesting. Oh boy, am I glad I didn't close. Okay, cool. Thank you. This has really been like
stay hard, people. Stay hard.
Stay
don't
hard. Be soft. Yes, I agree.
Don't participation trophy era where everyone gets a trophy. Everyone gets awarded. Oh, good job.
Right.
Oh, awesome.
Right.
That's not necessarily the best thing.
I got you. I totally understand, but I'm old school too. You know, it would be interesting to have somebody younger in here that would, you know,
rebut all this.
that would oppose us.
Yeah, please do that.
I
Would have been
know,
a much better show.
I know.
I would tear him a new asshole.
This has opened my mind up, and I am going to be inviting some guests on. I really wanted to start with Steve because I am so interested in rugby, and this helped. I probably will do a part 2 on this at some point in the future because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's interested in all this.
The rugby goes well beyond the field and the dynamics of life. I'll say that.
Well, I liked talking about the coaching thing that helps me in my career because, like I said, I've never done team. I've never coached a team. I have done exercises with teams, gymnastic teams, stuff like that, but never had anything to do with competition. My job was to just exercise with these young ladies. So I don't know the aspects of coaching a team and wouldn't even try to pretend I did. And that's why I was really interested in it. And me as a fitness trainer, I love to, like, when we're in the Olympics, you know, as a country, you guys are all looking at the athletes. I'm looking up at their coaches and seeing what they're doing with them for exercises. That's fun for me, you know, like who the coach for Noah Lyles, you know, what was he doing with him? Obviously lots of sprints, that's running and stuff like that, but I like to see what they're doing for exercises. It's just fun to me. And any kind of fitness stuff that's on Netflix, I'm in there watching, whether it's the Dream Team, that was the latest thing I just watched for basketball. But I don't mean to drone on that, except that I'm so interested in this, and I really appreciate you taking the time out and doing this with me. And tune in the future, people, and we're going to have some more different coaches. This really opened up my mind into who to invite. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Other closing music. Yeah, thank you.
I liked that music.
Yeah, that's the round robin music.
That was good.
Here, we'll put on the sizzle.
Sizzling, tuning out.
I could get you some pie taster intro music. I'm going to play around with it. Yeah. Production work to be had. All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.